Over the years of playing games, I've tried a good amount of indie racing games. Many of them I found on my own, while some were because developers reached out to me. I want to help out, since I know how hard it is for these indie developers to get their game out there. So, welcome to the Indie Racing Game Showcase. This video is going to present 6 PC games that I have enjoyed playing, ranging from unreleased, early access, and full releases. 3 of the games were requested by their developers, while I personally picked 3 others as I feel they need more recognition. Remember, these games are from small teams, with some only being made by one person. Quality, content, and scope are going to vary per title, so I don't want anyone to compare the games to each other. Let's just appreciate what indie developers can bring to the racing game space. Let's begin with a Splat. I was unable to cover the first game's winter expansion when the developer first reached out to me. Despite this, they reached out again for their new Eggcelerate to the Tropics game, so I tried it out and found it Eggcelerate. All jokes aside, it's a simple game with a unique premise. It's definitely a kid's game with its art style, sound effects, and silly puns, but it's far more challenging than I figured. You are going to need patience, and it's wicked satisfying when finally completing a level. While it's not really a racing game that appeals to me, I can see people who enjoy that trial and error gameplay liking this game. The developer did hint at making more games like this, so I am interested in seeing what comes in the future. Pocket Cars is an early access vehicular combat game where you drive RC cars. From the well-designed vehicles, interesting tracks, and fun power-ups, you can tell this team was inspired by games like Revolt. I'm also impressed with the physics, as they nailed the RC car feeling and even provide a few adjustable assists. Being in early access, it still has rough edges, including basic menus, unfinished graphics, and lackluster sound design. The developers have gone silent for a bit, but have recently said that new updates are coming soon. I really hope it does not become another abandoned early access game. Sloths is a weaponized vehicular combat game where the characters are sloths and you drive turbine-powered steamrollers. Yeah, definitely not the typical vehicles and characters you would see in a racing game. Regardless, it's the first title from Rain-style games and they did a great job. The game has great graphics, fun car combat, good vehicle customization, and a heavy rock soundtrack. It is also pure chaos, with many road hazards like barrels, turrets, and destructible stuff that flies everywhere. It's quite good, with my biggest complaints being its dull sound design and no voice acting for its characters.
The Vortex win. Bullseye.
The developers are currently working on updates and DLC content, so please don't disappoint. Chaos on Wheels is a weaponized vehicular combat game where you duke it out in arenas filled with turrets and enemies. It is technically the only non-racing game on this list, but I included the game since it's hard to fit it in anywhere else. This type of car combat is almost dead, so I appreciate the team for making a game in this lost style. So far, it's a solid game that can be quite hard. Trying to maneuver your vehicle while also making sure to land your shots and managing your health makes this game a challenging one.
No, don't you dare destroy me!
Currently, what you are seeing is the demo version, and the game is planned to release in early access sometime in 2023. I am curious to see how this game will improve and expand in its early access period, especially if we get a racing game mode in the future. I didn't get to talk about Turbo Sliders Unlimited in my Multiplayer Madness video, so let me change that. It's the sequel to the first Turbo Sliders game from 2004. Unlike its 2D predecessor, Unlimited is now fully 3D. For being in early access, the core mechanics like physics, handling, and the online are all good. Both the racing and the arena game modes are fun, and this has helped with the user-created maps. There is also a dedicated fan base, some even coming from the original, that help to make maps and populate online lobbies. You can tell that both the developer and players are extremely passionate about this game, which is quite nice to see. The game is still in early access, so it currently lacks features like a single player campaign and a soundtrack. I would definitely keep my eye on this one. Trail Out is a vehicular combat game inspired by Flat Out 2. For such a small team, the game is quite ambitious with its graphics, story, and content. It's easily the best looking game on this list with its UI design, texture work, lighting, and great effects. Just like Turbo Sloths, the game is also crazy, with plenty of destructive elements and aggressive AI. Its biggest negatives are its lackluster sound design and physics issues. Regardless, this is a much worthy spiritual successor that any fan of the Flat Out series should check out. The developers are currently working on updates including DLC content, improved physics, and online multiplayer, all coming soon. There are only so many games I can cover, as there is still plenty in my collection that I would love to talk about. If you found something that you liked, the links for the games are down in the description. This has been Gamer Alex. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.